Dear students, we have been solving the question paper. In the last period, we have solved some 10 questions. So today we shall start with the question number 11. Let's move forward and study the question number 11. Here you can see that in the 11th question we are told to, or we are asked to identify what kind of uh, isomerism possible or is available in these two compounds. One is CONH36 CrCN6 and another is CrNH36 COCN6. And this is not the linkage isomerism, because this linkage isomerism is generally seen into the NO2 or SCN kind of uh, ligands. Ionization isomerism differs by the number of, suppose if you have CrNH3 5Cl and then you have Cl2, and if you have CrNH3 4Cl2 and then Cl, my dear students, and these two will show the ionization isomerism. Solvent isomerism will be, again, we can see that we have the example of the solvent isomerism. For example, if you have CrNH3 6 Cl3, or it may be, Cr, or let's not take NH3 here, but let's take H2O here, CrH2O 6Cl3, or we may have CrH2O 5Cl. Let me explain on the another page so that you can understand, my dear students. See, solvent isomerism. Can you see the screen, my dear students?
Yes, sir.
Is CrH2O6 Cl3, or my dear students, CrH2O5 Cl, Cl2.H2O, or my dear students, it may be CrH2O4 Cl2 Cl.2H2O. These all will show the solvent isomerism, my dear students. So here, if we really look into the question, we will understand that the kind of isomerism is coordination isomerism. And this is how, my dear students, we understand about the coordination isomerism is the correct answer for this particular question. Now let's move forward and understand the next question. Uh, the next question, do you remember what do we call these ligands which can ligate with two sides? Can any of you answer me this question? Those ligands which have two ligate sides, what do we call them? Anyone? Dear students, I am asking you something. The ligands that can ligate with two different sides, what do we call them? I need the answer from you. See, some ligands, very good, please. Yes, dear child, you are correct. Please repeat your answer.
Ligand.
But thank you for answering. But will you please repeat your answer? Actually, Sambhav, I could not hear it. That is why I am asking to answer you again. Will you please tell me?
Biligand.
No, they are known as, they are known as ambident ligand. In the last paper itself, we have studied about such isomerism, and we have considered it as a linkage isomerism. Let's move and understand the next question. Limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte can be represented as the sum of the individual contribution of anion and cation. This law is given by Colruyt. And according to this, if you have mu NaCl, then it will be, you know, or not mu, then we'll write something like lambda. So if we write it this way, lambda m, that is the molar conductivity of NaCl, is equal to molar conductivity of Na plus molar conductivity of Cl. This is how we study, my dear students, and this law was given by the scientist named Colruyt. Humphrey Davy has discovered chlorine, and Oswald was the scientist to give us the process for finding or for preparation of nitric acid, and Faraday has given Faraday's law, where you know what is the amount of uh, or it is, you know, the amount of metal deposited on a electrode depends upon the uh, equivalent mass of the compound, and the more or the amount of uh, metal deposited on the electrode is directly proportional to the amount of current, or you can say the amount of charges that we have passed. These are the two laws given by Faraday, and they are known as the Faraday's law. Humphrey Davy. Now, my dear students, we have the next question. Which of the following is not favorable condition for physical adsorption? Please understand, my dear students, here they have mentioned not favorable. So here I have mentioned the answer which is favorable, but please remember which of the following is not favorable condition for the physical adsorption. So high pressure is favorable for the physical adsorption, my dear students. Then higher critical temperature of adsorbate, high temperature, this is not. So this is what it is going to be the correct answer, because when we have physical adsorption and if we keep the temperature higher, the gas will dissolve, or the opposite process, then adsorption takes place. So the correct answer is higher temperature, higher pressure and higher critical temperature of adsorbate and negative enthalpy change for the reaction are the three favorable conditions for the physisorption. My dear students, I would suggest you to learn these three conditions which are favorable for the physical adsorption. Number one, high pressure. Number two, negative enthalpy of reaction. And number three, higher critical temperature of adsorbate. So I hope, my dear students, now you understand. Suppose someone asks you what are the three conditions, or write the three conditions favorable for physisorption. So we can write, my dear students. Can you tell me what are these three conditions which are favorable for physisorptions? Suppose you are asked the question, write three conditions favorable for physisorption. Will you please answer this question, my dear students? Hello. Will you please answer this question? What are the three conditions?
High pressure,
First one is high pressure. Okay, next.
negative enthalpy,
Then negative delta H value. And then third one is, it is about critical temperature. Critical temperature. Critical temperature of adsorbate. So the adsorbate should have high critical temperature, my dear students, so that the physisorption takes place easily and better way. So please remember these conditions; they are very important points. Then we have the next question, my dear students. Let me read the next question for you. The CFSE for octahedral COCl6 plus minus 4 is 18,000 centimeter inverse. The CFSE for tetrahedral COCl4 will be, that is what they are asking. So now we have two compounds, COCl6 and COCl4 minus 2. Let me explain this to you, my dear students. See, we have two compound. One is COCl6 minus 4 and another one is COCl4 minus 2. Now here we will have delta O. For this it is going to be delta T, my dear students. It is going to be delta T. That is the splitting energy for octahedral compound and splitting energy for tetrahedral compound. Now my dear students, we have a formula. The formula says that delta T is equal to 4 by 9 delta O. My dear students, delta T is equal to 4 by 9 delta O. Now the value for delta O is given, my dear students, that is 4 by 9 multiplied by 18,000, and thus, my dear students, we get 8,000. So this is how we can easily answer the question. You can see that the CFSE for octahedral COCl6 minus 4 is 18,000 centimeter inverse. The CFSE for tetrahedral COCl6 minus 2 will be. So you can see I have even calculated here delta T is equal to 4 by 9 delta O, that is 4 by 9 multiplied by 18,000, that is 4 multiplied by 2,000, and finally we get 8,000 centimeter inverse. So this is how, my dear students, we can get our answer very well. So I hope, my dear students, you understood it. बच्चों क्या आपकी समझ में आ रहा है ये? Hello, dear students, can you understand it or not? Expecting the answer from you. Hello, dear students. Here we will get the answer as 8,000. Do you understand this? Okay. Can you hear me, dear students? Okay. तो इस तरीके से बोलोगे तो I'll come to know that you understood it. Okay, next question. Which of the following base is not present in DNA? See, adenine is present in DNA, thymine is present in DNA, cytosine is present in DNA, but uracil is not present, and that is why our answer is uracil. Now here, my dear students, here we have the assertion region questions that are the questions from 16 to 20. Let me read the first question, question number 16 for you. Nitrogen is also called a chalcogen. This is absolutely wrong statement, my dear students. Nitrogen can be called as nicogens, but not the chalcogens. Oxygen is the most abundant element on the earth. This is correct statement. So out of these four options, my dear students, that what are those four correct? What are those four? Both assertion and reason are correct statement, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Both assertion and reason are correct statement, but reason is not the exact explanation of assertion. Assertion A is correct, but reason R is incorrect. Here it is exactly opposite, so the option will be D. Assertion is incorrect. You can see that nitrogen is not called chalcogen, but reason is correct. Yes, oxygen is the most abundant element on the earth, and that is why the answer is D. That is what you can see here, that our answer is D, my dear students. So we have D as an answer. Let's move forward and study a little more, my dear students. Okay, let's move to the next question. Higher carboxylic acids are practically insoluble in water. This is true because as the number of carbon increases, my dear students, the molecular mass increases, and as the molecular mass increases, they behave like They behave like oil, or they behave like wax, and they are insoluble in water. So this statement is correct. Carboxylic acids dissociate in water to give resonance stabilized carboxylic anions and hydronium ion. This is also correct. Let me explain this to you, my dear students, that whenever we have, we have R, what this R represent? R can be CH3, R can be CH3, CH2, R can be CH3, CH2, CH2, whatever it may be. Now, see, suppose if you have R, COOH, these R may be a long chain or a long chain or a short chain. But if it is long chain, it is insoluble in water. And if it is short chain, my dear students, or it's short chain, then it is soluble in water. When it reacts with water, my dear students, it produces the compound like, you know, ROH, let's say, or let's not even say this way, but let us understand it this way, that it produces a H3O plus ion, and it produces RCOO minus ion. Now, when we look at the RCOO minus ion, my dear students, RCOO and O minus, this particular ion is resonance stable, and sometimes the negative charge goes this way, and so these electrons which are present on the oxygen 2 here, let us say this is oxygen 2, this is oxygen 1, this is oxygen 1, this is oxygen 2. This electron, when they go here, so you will get the double bond, and this electron, when they go here on oxygen, you will get negative charge. So when you have negative charge on the oxygen, that oxygen will have 6 electron, and the oxygen with the double bond will have 2 electron. You can see that here we get, if it is insoluble, then it will not dissolve into water, but if it is soluble, then it dissociate and produce hydronium ion and resonance stable carboxylate ion. So that is what our questions ask us. Let me read once again for you, my dear students, that carboxylic acid dissociate in water to give resonance stabilized carboxylic anions and hydronium ion. That is what we have seen. Higher carboxylic acids are practically insoluble in water. So both the statements are correct, and they do not give reason to each other. So we can say that both assertion A and reason R are correct statement, but reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion A, and that is why the option B is correct for this question number 17. Now let's look at the question number 18, my dear students. Assertion A. There are mainly 3 series of transition metals. Now 6D series is incomplete, my dear students, so that is why we call it mainly 3 series. Reason, V plus 4 and V plus 3 salts have blue and green color. So please remember that V plus 3 is of green color and V plus 4 is of blue color, my dear students. Here also both the statements are correct, but they are not exactly the explanation of each other, and that is why the answer B is correct for even question number 18, my dear students. Now if you look into the next question, question number 19, we have assertion A. Argon and helium is an example of non-polar solids. So we are very well known that argon and helium are inert gases, and they do not create any polarity, so they are non-polar solids. Metals are orderly collection of positive ions surrounded by and held together by a sea of electrons. So we have explained this by the electron sea model, my dear students, and as we can see it, or we are well aware that metal bonding are explained by the electron sea model. Both these statements are correct, but they are not the explanation, or reason R is not the explanation of A, and that is why the answer B here also, the answer is going to be B. Both the statements are correct, but reason R is not the correct explanation of A. Now let's move and understand the question number 20. Aromatic carboxylic acids do not undergo Friedel-Crafts reaction. Aromatic carboxylic acid do not undergo Friedel-Crafts reaction. AlCl3 is Lewis acid and gets bounded to the carbonyl group. Now let me explain this, my dear students, that if we have aromatic carboxylic acids, this is what it is, the aromatic carboxylic acid. Let us say it is COOH. That reacts with anhydrous AlCl3. This is what it is, the reagent for Friedel-Crafts reaction. Reagent for Friedel-Crafts reaction. Now, what is the speciality of this, my dear student, is that it has got incomplete octet. The octet of AlCl3. AlCl3 is actually Lewis acid, and it has got incomplete octet. So this is how, my dear students, there is a salt formed between this. So let me actually explain it in some other manner. You have AlCl3, and then you have COO, or let me write it this way, OOC, this way, minus and H plus. This is what it happens. And as this reaction takes place, my dear students, this is the salt formation that takes place. And due to this kind of reaction, the reagent AlCl3 cannot do its work properly, cannot do it works properly, or cannot function, my dear students, cannot function properly. And as it cannot function properly, the Friedel-Crafts reaction is not, or aromatic carboxylic acids could not undergo the Friedel-Crafts reactions. Aromatic carboxylic acids. So these aromatic carboxylic acids could not undergo the Friedel-Crafts reaction. That is what our question is. Let us look at the question number 20. My dear students, can you see the question number 20? बच्चों आपको क्वेश्चन नंबर 20 दिख रहा है? Yes. Aromatic carboxylic acids do not undergo Friedel-Crafts reaction because AlCl3 is Lewis acid and gets bounded to the carboxyl group. So here the statement A, assertion is correct, reason R is correct, and assertion A, both assertion A and reason R are correct statement, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion A, and that is why the answer for this question, my dear students, is A. So we can say the answer for this question is A. Now, my dear students, we have the next, we are going into section number B. We have the next question, question number 21. Explain how you can determine the atomic mass of an unknown metal if you know its mass, density, and dimensions of unit cell of its crystal. So, my dear students, we are well aware that we have a formula. That formula tells us for a crystal that D, density D is equal to Z M divided by A cube into Na, where, my dear students, these various D, Z, M, let us not write A cube, but let's write A and Na. What are these things, my dear students? Let's D is equal to density of the unit cell. Z is known as the number of atoms per unit cell. M is equal to the mass of unit cell. A is equal to the edge length, and Na is 6.022 into 10 to the power 23, which is known as the Avogadro number. Same way, my dear students, if we look into the Z, we can have the various values for Z, my dear students. The various values which are available for Z are 4, 2 and 1. This 1 is for simple cubic. This is for BCC, body centered cubic cell, and this is for FCC, face centered cubic cell. Even for HCP, my dear students, we have 4. So this is how we can understand. So now what is the question? Let me take you back to the question again. Explain how you can determine the atomic mass. So here you need to find out the atomic mass of an unknown metal. If you know its mass, density and other dimensions, so you can easily convert this formula into the atomic mass. M is equal to D multiplied by A cube multiplied by Na divided by Z. And this is the formula by which you can find out the atomic mass of unit cell. So this is how you can find out the atomic mass of unit cell. So I hope, my dear students, you have understood this. But so you need to reply whether you understand it or not. And if
Yes,
you
sir.
okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
good. And if you cannot understand, you can ask me the question. Now let's look at the question number 22. When a coordination compound CrCl3 6H2O is mixed with AgNO3, 2 moles of AgCl are precipitated per mole of the compound. So let us understand this question first. Let us understand this question. Do you remember what was the compound, my dear students? Cr. Can you please tell me what is the compound? Cr. Speak up, please participate. Be aware. CrCl3 into 6H2O. CrCl3 into 6H2O.
6H2O.
It is allowed to react with AgNO3
AgNO.
excess. We like whatever the amount of AgNO3 needed, which is available. And then what happens? We get 2 mole of AgCl. This is what it has happened. Now this is what it is given, and only 1 mole of it was taken. So for 1 mole of this complex compound, we have got 2 mole of AgCl precipitates. What does it mean? That means in this compound, my dear students, in this particular compound, we have 2 ionizable Cl minus present. Therefore, my dear students, this compound should be Cr, then it should have, H2O5 inside it. Then there is Cl2 outside, and one H2O molecule is present in this way. So this compound should be this. Sorry, one Cl is there inside. So there are 2 Cl available outside. So this compound is this. Now if we want to write the IUPAC name, we can write it as, see, this is chlorido and this is aqua. So we should start it with the penta aqua chlorido chromium Now please remember that this is Cl2, so it is -2, my dear students. So this is what it is going to be, +2. Now if chromium has got X and the Cl has got -1, that is equal to +2, and therefore, my dear students, the charge on chromium is equal to +2 + 1, that is +3. So we should write chromium 3 chloride. This is what it is going to be, the IUPAC name for this compound. What is the IUPAC name? Penta-aqua chloridochromium 3 chloride. Now let's get back to the question. Okay, when a coordination compound CFCA3 into 6H2O is mixed with AgNO3, 2 moles of AgCl are precipitate per mole, means we are going to use 1 mole of this compound per mole of the compound. Write structural formula of the complex. So you can see that the structural formula of the complex is this: CrH2O5Cl Cl2, and write the IUPAC name of the complex. The IUPAC name of the complex is penta-aqua chloridochromium 3 chloride. So बच्चों, अगर आपको समझ में आया है तो please say yes. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Very
sir.
good. Very good.
Yes.
Now let's move to the next question,
Yes,
my dear
sir.
students. What is the next question? Using IUPAC norms, write the formula for the following. So we need to use the IUPAC name and then IUPAC norms, and that we need to write the formula. Sodium dicyanidorate 1. So that is what it gives us, the formula: sodium aurum, that is Au, and Cn twice. So Na into the bracket Au Cn twice. Same way, tetramine chlorido nitrito N. Remember that nitrite is bonded with N. So we need not to write ONO, but we can write NO2. Platinum 4 sulfate. So we can write it Pt NH34 Cl NO2, and outside the bracket we have SO4. So this is how we can understand the answer. Then we can move to the next question, my dear students. In the following ions, atomic number of Mn is equal to 25, vanadium is equal to 23, chromium is equal to 24, and titanium is equal to 22. So when we write the electronic configuration for Mn plus 3, V plus 3, Cr plus 3, and Ti plus 4, Mn plus 3 is argon 3d5 4s0. Vanadium plus 3, sorry, argon 3d4, my dear students, I made a mistake. Mn plus 3 is argon 3d4 4s0, because Mn is d5. So d5 and 4s2. So 2 electron goes from 4s and 1 electron goes for d. So it becomes Mn plus 3 is argon 3d4. Vanadium plus 3 is argon 3d2. Chromium plus 3 is argon 3d3 4s0. And titanium plus 4, my dear students, is argon 3d0 and 4s0. So there are no electrons available in titanium plus 4, my dear students, at all. There are not even a single electron present in titanium plus 4. Now let us answer this question. Which ion is most stable in the aqueous solution? This is the most important question among all these four. Which ion is most stable in the aqueous solution? So if you look into the various electronic configuration, you can see that chromium plus 3 has got 3d3. Please pay attention. And we are very well aware, my dear students, that 3d3 is most stable among the various, see, we have 5d orbitals. And we can see that what are the various electronic configuration that we have, my dear students. We have 3d4, 3d2, 3d3, and 3d0. So let's look at the, see, we have 3d4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 3d3 and we have 3d2. Now you can see that the most stable is 3d5, which is completely half, or even more stable is 3d10, but these two are not available. So here, if you look into this 3D3, my dear students, this 3D3 if undergoes splitting, then we can have this type of orbital. This is what they are known as T2G. These are known as EG. And you can see that in 3D3, our T2G is completely filled. So according to the given information, this 3D3 is going to be the most stable. So out of these three, either we have 3D4 or 3D2. The most stable is 3D3, my dear students. Then if we look at 3D4, my dear students, if we add 3D4 plus 1 electron, it will give us 3D5. This, when we add 1 electron, actually we are doing reduction. So if 3D4 undergo reduction easily, and if it undergoes reduction, my dear students, if a substance undergo reduction, it is going to be very good oxidizing agent. One more thing I would like to share with you, my dear students, that colored compounds or complexes generally have unpaired electron, which absorbs energy, go to higher energy level, and while coming down to lower energy level,